In this video today, I want to talk about two very well-known altcoins that have just been bothering me for a while now. They continue to do so. And the fact is they're showing real signs of decline. I'm not guessing about this. I'm not injecting unnecessary FUD. We're talking about real signals here in terms of the data. You're going to see some weak use cases, definitely shrinking interest in terms of the numbers and red flags that unfortunately, a lot of investors are not considering. Usually I talk about quality projects that are brought down through no fault of their own, perhaps because of more macro market conditions. This is kind of the opposite. These are projects that don't really deserve to succeed based on what we're seeing. And ultimately, if you want to protect yourself in a market that's just full of noise right now, hopefully this breakdown will help. These are two altcoins that actually may look fine today on any given day, but the truth is a little bit more negative, unfortunately, I have to admit. Welcome to the channel. My name is Maddie, and this is Altcoin Buzz. Hey, I wish you all the best of luck, as always, if you choose to invest. I hope I'm not hurting your feelings if the two projects that we're looking at today are old bags that you hold, but we try to be objective, right? We try to be unemotional in terms of our analyses. Just remember, of course, I am not a financial or investment advisor, nor is this video official financial or investment advice. The first project that we're looking at today is Internet Computer Protocol, ticker ICP. This is a blockchain built by the Dfinity Foundation. It launched back in May of 2021, and its stated goals have been to replace parts of cloud computing. Now, Internet Computer plans this by running apps, smart contracts, and data all fully on-chain, and the goal is to act like a decentralized kind of scalable internet. So that's all well and good. I like those ambitions. That's fine. I don't have a problem with any of that. But, and this is a major one here, ever since its ICP token launch, as you probably know if you've been following the drama here, ICP has just been absolutely buried in lawsuits. Investors are claiming that ICP's 2021 launch hurt them pretty significantly. In fact, they say that insiders dumped just huge amounts of tokens very early on. This caused an unbelievable and very rapid price crash, up to 80% within 6 weeks. And here we're looking at the max chart. So going all the way back to kind of summer 2021, you can see that ICP is down 99%. This whole lawsuit that I mentioned argued that ICP was an unregistered security sold with very little transparency. Later, the case was dismissed on timing grounds, actually. However, doubts about fairness and insider gains still lingered because that dismissal was kind of a technicality, I suppose. And so this also raised pretty valid centralization concerns, which is something that ICP won't be able to shake off pretty easily or at all based on how things are looking. ICP also still faces core limits that block its so-called infinite cloud promise. And developers on the official forum are noting various things. So for instance, strict instruction caps, which makes complex or very heavy applications harder to deploy. Memory limits. So ICP works with canisters and they have a capped memory to a 4 gig limit. And as far as I understand, there is what's called stable memory. That's up to 500 gigabytes. However, this also comes with added cost, with complexity, and again, as I understand, limitations of its own. Fixed subnets. This is another issue that limits scaling and weakens overall shared security. Message size ceilings, because each block can only include up to 1,000 messages, and some pretty significant storage bottlenecks, which create slow performance, higher costs, and complex architecture for real quality apps out there. Now, these constraints effectively have stopped ICP from working as a truly limitless on-chain compute platform as promised. Remember, ICP promised, quote, cheap, infinite blockchain compute for developers. However, its pricing actually may be more expensive than anything they talked about previously, quite a bit more expensive. The fact is that building complex apps on ICP still demands quite a bit of specialized knowledge, and this may deter mainstream developers or teams that are more used to conventional cloud environments. They're going to naturally look for other options, right? Also, this may explain daily active users on ICP and maybe a window into some of those metrics, because that number, according to Artemis, which is a very trusted source, we use them for everything else basically, that number is only 4.8 thousand. And there's no way to spin that into a positive. Whatever way you choose to look at that number, however you want to interpret it, that's not good. There's also a lack of real sustainable adoption and actual pragmatic use cases because ICP aims to host full applications on chain, right? That's with front end, back end, dApps. But a lot of observers question whether there is real demand to begin with. One change that we can observe here in this whole equation can be the launch of the Caffeine app. This is ICP's new AI tool that builds Web3 apps from what we're told are very simple prompts. And look, to its credit, Caffeine was able to spark some hype because it does make app creation easier. And I'd say arguably it also fits ICP's dream of a self-writing internet. It does kind of fit into that. However, critics and ICP's founder, Dominic Williams, have noted that Caffeine still relies on centralized parts. So that's not good. The whole, quote, decentralized cloud and AI promise by ACP obviously hasn't been fully realized just yet. Plus, its real adoption is very, very low, as we've seen. ICP's technical limits remain as well. There's still not much progress being made there in that context. And furthermore, and looking at the tokenomics here, they're just really not the best. I've already discussed the price crash. That was after the TGE. And another thing to consider is that ICP has an unlimited supply on top of everything else. So as a standalone variable factor, that may be okay, but in combination here with the other stuff, that's not good. Personally, I'm never a fan when it comes to these kinds of tokenomics. The current price of ICP, as I record, is $4.08. Now, it did see a tripling of its price within about a week. It reached $9.29. That was back on the 8th of November, so a few weeks ago. That was with the whole news of the Caffeine app launching. But this also seems like speculative hype, short-term trading behavior. As you can see here, we're looking at the last quarter. It's down over 16% in these last 3 months. ICP is just not something I'd touch. In fact, I'd recommend you avoid it as well. All right, next up on this list of today's altcoins that I'm just not fond of, candidly, we're looking at Worldcoin. Ticker WLD. This is a digital ID and cryptocurrency project backed by Sam Altman, who is the CEO of OpenAI. That's the company known for creating ChatGPT, of course, and DALL-E platforms. And you're probably more familiar with ChatGPT than DALL-E, but the latter just creates images from text prompts. So Worldcoin scans people's irises with an orb to create a unique global ID and gives users its token, WLD. Its goal as a project is to be a universal, secure identity system for the age of artificial intelligence. But there's also this immediate issue at hand here. There have been regulatory blowups and court orders, which have risked shutdowns here. Various national authorities have also banned or ordered deletion entirely of iris data. This included halting Worldcoin operations. And this can force large market exits and loss of user trust. Countries that banned Worldcoin or where it has regulatory issues are pretty extensive, actually. They include Spain. That's where the AEPD ordered a temporary ban in March of 2024. Portugal. The CNPD ordered a 90-day suspension on biometric data collection. That happened on March 26th, 2024. And as of today, there's no official follow-up or public statement declaring that the ban was ever terminated. Brazil, that is where the ANPD ordered suspension of operations, and this was upheld after appeal from January 2025 onward. Colombia, where the country issued a shutdown order in October 2025. Hong Kong, where there was a cease and desist order that was in May of 2024. Thailand, where the PDPA suspended Worldcoin only a few days ago, actually. It deleted 1.2 million records of data that was already collected. And really the common thread here in terms of the reasoning is pretty similar in each country. They have all banned collection and processing of data with a few minor variations. Germany, as well as much of Europe, also Indonesia, South Korea, and Kenya are also part of this whole thing. Because of course there are ethical concerns here. I think that's what these countries are worried about. And ethical concerns and accusations of exploiting vulnerable populations. At least that's something that is part of the discussion. So for example, Hong Kong, they cited violations of privacy laws. And I think that's a legitimate citation. Critics are generally saying that incentivized iris signups in poorer countries risk data exploitation. And this can cause things like reputational damage that will scare partners and users away. Again, I think that's a valid point. Because again, the orbs here, the technology scans your iris, and then it creates a unique code called an iris code, which proves that you're real, that you're a unique human being. These things are very, very detailed and complex, right? This is much more sophisticated, for example, than things like fingerprints. However, Worldcoin claims that it does not store your actual data when it comes to the imagery of your eye. But that's also where some of the regulators disagree. They don't believe it. The iris code ties your data to a world ID. So that's your digital identity inside the whole system. And once your world ID is verified, you can receive WLD tokens in the World app, providing it's legal, of course, in your country of residence. So scanning is incentivized in a big way. And that kind of, at the heart of it, that's where the issue is. Because currently you receive almost 46 WLD for an iris scan, which is worth around $28 in real world prices. Now, unfortunately, the tokenomics of WLD do not look great. There's a max supply of 10 billion WLD. However, since its launch in July of 2023, we have only 23% in circulation, so 2.3 billion. There will be token unlocks also for the first 15 years. That is until July 2038, which is a much broader unlock schedule than pretty much every other project out there. That's a long time, 15 years. After that, there is an option for a 1.5% annual inflation. And the current price of WLD sits right now at 65.5 cents. It happens to be up on the day. But if we look here and zoom out, take a look at the last year, the last 12 months, you can see it's down 74% over that period of time. So in a big way, this was suffering and this was doing very poorly as a project kind of before the rest of the crypto market started to show signs of weakness and lost so much value. The difficulties and the price plummets of WLD certainly preceded the rest of the crypto market. So that's kind of one of these clear signs that we look out for, right? That being said, it's still got a better DAU, that's daily active users, than ICP. About 30,000 or so. So still quite a lot better in terms of that metric. There are just too many potential regulatory and ethical concerns here for my taste. It looks like a very risky project and one that is losing steam on the whole. But look, let me know how you feel about these two altcoins, Worldcoin and ICP, Internet Computer. Whether you agree or disagree, let me know in the comments below. Also, be sure to join our discussions on social media, on X and on Discord. You can find those links in the description of this video.